Hey there! Welcome to SUPlift, a place where ideas meet with resources to create something special. Meet Francesco. Francesco created his first company at the age of 22 and sold it just after 2 years. Serial founder turned investor, he knows exactly what companies need to get noticed by investors and grow. Nowadays, he is a general manager at Nomadic Minds, the world's largest network of Silicon Valley CEOs and top executives. He connects emerging startup ecosystems with the brightest minds from the Silicon Valley and helps them grow. Privately, he invests in startups from West Africa, Western Balkans, Jordan, Turkey, Romania and Bulgaria. Francesco is one of the first guests we will be having in our series of talks with experts, founders, investors and many more that may help to inspire you and nudge you in the right direction. Hello Francesco, thank you for being with us.
Hey, Cuba, great to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
No worries, we are incredibly grateful. So the first chapter I prepared of our interview is called, the title is Francesco as a Founder. So firstly, we will start with you as a founder. We would like to know from your time at the beginning, let's go back to you being 22, maybe a little bit earlier. How did you create your first company? How did you build your team? And what was the product?
I'll go back. So there's a bit of I'll go back when I was actually like 19. So what happened is that I quit school when I was 16, and because we didn't have money in the family, so I managed to work as a sales when I was 16, trying to sell everything. And then at the age of basically 18, 19, I got my diploma. Obviously, I paid for it, so it's not legit. But then I start, after that, I was basically I was selling mayonnaise from Poland to Italy, to bars and restaurants, called basically I happened to understand that there was a market, and I tried to convince other companies around the globe while I was in uni to invest in Italy. But this wasn't successful for plenty of reasons. First of all, I couldn't speak English. Second of all, there's all a legal part that I wasn't aware of, etc. And but we happened to understand that people were actually interested in the other way around. So Italian entrepreneurs to get clients from abroad. Why? Because there is this strong belief of abroad, everything is easier, the grass is greener, and people love Italian, mamma mia. So as the work is, they start selling and raise sales guy, raise 70K from a local angel investors. Again, one thing that I can do certainly in life is sell. The other thing I struggle, everything else I struggle a lot. But selling, I can do it. So I start selling. I was 19. I was talking with these 65 years old school entrepreneurs and convinced them to buy. And it happens to be successful. We sold I managed to create my sales team. I read a lot of books, and that's the only reason why I know a lot of stuff. It's none of my ideas came from me. It's all about books, and try, etc. And then at the end of the day, we managed to do 1.2 million in revenue in 18 months, and it was really good. The problem is that I was just doing the sales side. My co-founders, they were friends of mine, and they used to be friends of mine. They were doing more of the product side, but these actually wasn't actually working. So the clients weren't that happy with the product, and so we happened to try hard to fix the product. I was busy with sales, so we never managed to fix the product. The churn rate was quite high. So what does it mean, churn rate? It means that people bought the products, but they were totally unhappy with us. But still, we managed to basically find and acquire bought us out, and then we did our earn-out process, and we just ran away from the company. And the big lesson I learned, there is the lesson that I keep telling to anyone and to everyone in the startup world. So they should be fixed in your head. We are all here to make money, and the only reason why I was successful is because my mentality. I wasn't a startup founder. I was a guy trying to make as much money as he could. So when you have this kind of mentality, you don't think about raising funds, you don't think about product, you don't think about what's the trend, what's the total addressable market, you don't think about retention, you think about how can I make the easiest cash ever. And so I went there to sell, and I sold. The product was bad, but still having a lot of sales and bad product is good enough to make your company sellable or make your company worth something. Having a great product but no sales, this is the classic receipt for failure, like always.
And now, as an investor, would you also say the same thing? That
Every
it's all
time.
about thinking about...
Every time, I just say all the time, like, guys, first sell, then everything else. Like, have a decent product that you should be quite embarrassed by it, okay? And then start selling. You're gonna, then every time, so there is this thing, like, the best investor on the planet, when I'm thinking about Axel, Sequoia Capital, okay, they're wrong like 60% of the time, okay? They've been doing this for like such a long time, 30, 40 years of investing. They've got the greatest brand in the world. They're still wrong the majority of the time. Why? Because literally nobody knows in this planet what's going to work, what's not going to work. The best thing you can do is try and adjust. So and this is like a suggestion that I give it to you, Kuba, as well, to all the founders on the planet. Try hard and try selling. Once you will receive the no, you learn from the no why is a no and no a yes, and you adjust the strategy. If you do 100 times, the 101 times, this is gonna work, and you're gonna find the pro market fit everyone keep bragging about.
Interesting. And when you were those 22, even earlier year-old guy, how did you get your first client? How did you do it?
Like,
was it knocking from doors to door?
Yeah, the classic way. We call us up people. Hey, hello, my name is Francesco. I did watch a lot of videos on YouTube on how to do cold callings, and I did read a lot of books on how to do cold callings. I did ask a lot of people if they could give me some script, and then I contact them and say, hey guys, how are you? I'm actually we are representing several buyers around the planet. Obviously, it wasn't true, but it was partially true, partially not. But you need to draw the interest, or you say something that catch the interest, and then you say, okay, do you wanna? Would you like to talk one of those days on? Would you like to talk one of those days on basically how we can help you to export your product? Some of them will say yes, so we will book a meeting. I will show up there and trying to sell. And they keep telling me the same thing. If you have your clients, just bring me some money, bring me some products, okay? And I'll bring me some money and I'll give you a percentage. So this was the first challenge I had. So I need to find a way to overcome this. So I learned what can I do? And I prepared some sort of strategy on how to how to basically solve this problem out. And then the second problem was we don't trust you. So we prepare another strategy to solve this problem out. In the first case, we just create an offer where people kind of advance the money, and if we happen to sell the company, if you happen to sell the product, they're gonna give the money back. And in the second option, what we did was basically, so when people say we don't trust you, we create a sort of trusted platform, trusted partners that could basically reference us. And then we did we basically did this thing for something like 7 months, like 150 meetings. At the end of the day, we closed the first, and then once you close the first, everything starts going downhill. So you know exactly what to do next.
Which is?
You learn step by step. So have you ever read James Dyson story?
Tell me.
So James Dyson is like the guy that created Dyson, the vacuum cleaner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they say to him, "Oh, dude, you're really smart." Then he say, "Look, I'm not smart at all, because to invent my vacuum cleaner, I did 5,600 prototypes. I did two prototypes per day for 3 years in a row." Okay, so what he said was basically, to create something good, you don't need to be smart. You just simply have to try things and adjust. At a certain point, you made it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's 100% true. And tell me, Francesco, in hindsight, if you go back, because you told us that you need to concentrate on selling and getting as much revenue as you can.
Yeah.
But if you could go back, would you adjust anything at the beginning? Would you correct some mistakes that you've made?
Oh man, so like everything, literally everything. Like apart from the selling part, everything was like a complete chaos. And well, like the first thing so having a good co-founder is the best thing ever. The problem is that these are things that don't usually like happen. So how do you find a co-founder? There's no way to find a co-founder. So you happen to do things with the people you know, and it depends from where you're from. So if you are from Stanford and you live in Connecticut, yes, that's great. But if you live in a random island in the middle of Europe, there's not a lot of people you can work on. So, like finding the best co-founder is the best thing ever, but God know how. So when you have got no network, no nothing, it's not easy to find a co-founder. So you better do things on your own.
And now, when you created other companies, right now in Nomadic Minds, how do you look for a co-founder?
So that's the thing.
Do they come to you?
So that's the thing. When Nomadic Minds, we go a small fund that we used to fund like idea stage startups. What does it mean? Does it mean that Cuba will come with an idea in specific market? So we go specific market, specific ideas we look at. If Cuba, so just to give an example, we look at fintech in Egypt or prop tech in Turkey. Okay, so you come to me and say, "Hey, Francesco, I've got ideas for fintech. Is a copycat of Klarna." Okay, for instance. And I say to you, I want to be finance. I go literally need nothing. I go just a 3-slide deck. And I want 100K. And they say, okay, show me how your co-founders. If you show me decent co-founders, you can bet I'll give you my money. What does it mean decent? It means that they already have proved in other occasions they could do those kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Of course. And when you look for co-founders yourself, when you created a company as a founder,
no,
I mean, what was your reasoning? Because now as an investor, I understand, but as a founder,
this is a massive problem. Like, to be honest, I got no solution to this right now. So, like, you go to, I had something like 15 or 16 people that have tried to work with me, and they at a certain point is always they give up because they can't keep up with the work. And to be honest, it's been a struggle. So having a way to find co-founders is something that the market needs, and I got no silver bullet for this.
I understand. And going back then to you as an investor now.
Yeah.
In your description, whenever you write about yourself and talk about yourself, you say that you invest in North Africa, Western Balkans, Jordan, Turkey, Bulgaria, Romania. Why? Why those countries?
No, it's really easy to start. So basically, my money is coming from like government funds, so they specific mandate to specific location, and so I can move from there.
Okay, yeah. But is it kind of because you also write that you are industry agnostic, if I understand correctly?
Yeah.
So for you, it doesn't matter what the actual idea is.
Yeah.
But that's what you can invest in pretty much everything.
Yeah. So in those markets, so this is what's happening over there. Okay. So you have to imagine. So right now, if you want to go out, if you want to go out tonight, you're gonna use Uber, and probably you're gonna book a table on Open Table or Zomato or something like this. And then probably you're gonna if you want to stay home, you're gonna order some Deliveroo, or probably you're gonna use some wine delivery to get some like alcohol delivery, and then you're gonna check out on Zenly where your friends are. Okay, so the specific things that you now do. Okay, and that people love it, and this has been working. And to get to Poland, to get to Italy, or to get to London, those ideas that probably they landed in the States. No one believes in them, but then they happen to demonstrate with like straight numbers and hard numbers that those idea works. And then they went into Europe. Okay. because Europe is the second. It's really easy to get from the States to Europe because the mentality, the culture, the infrastructure is still there. Then now but those ideas are not present in, I don't know, North Africa or LATAM, or they're not present in the Middle East. Why? Because these are completely different markets. They are kind of poor markets most of the time. So it does not make a lot of sense for those giants to jump in there. Okay? Mm-hmm. On top of it, those ideas, as I said, it's been a result of a lot of trials and error from investors. So probably back in 2014, when someone invented, think of Getir, okay? Getir, the Getir model, okay? So the guy that created Getir, he spent 6 years experimenting what the model should be, okay? Mm-hmm. Then after 6 years of experimenting, probably there were like 20 or 30 competitors of Getir that we never heard of. They did the same thing with different models and failed. So out of hundreds of millions spent on funding, at the end, the one spending Getir were successful, and it took 6 years. Now, and Gorilla is another company based in Germany that demonstrate this. Someone can come up saying, wow, Getir, I love your idea. Where are you going? And Getir will say, we'll expand in the UK, we will expand in Germany, and we will expand in the US. Perfect. I'm going to copycat you from A to Z, the same thing you did, that you spend 6 years, 100, and people spend 100 million to work on this. I'm going to just do a copycat and just go market that you are not present. If you have a good team, this could be feasible. And then on top of it, it means that in all those emerging markets, there are basically tons of unexploited ideas. They are completely successful in the Western world, but they're not present there. And the market is so big to let them become a unicorn or something similar to a unicorn. They can twist them a bit to become more, let's say, viable from the local market. So some halal version of a famous product. And this is a massive opportunity. That's why I think those markets are booming. So if you do, for instance, a Klarna in Egypt is $100 million market. 100 million people market. You can expand in nearby countries. This is going to be massive, and you don't need to be you're not competitive with Klarna, and you're not going to be acquired by Klarna probably. You're just going to create your own company, and you're going to become a unicorn, a deca unicorn, and you're going to be a great success. Nubank is doing a challenger bank like everyone else does in Europe, like is in N26, like Revolut, like Mercury, etc. But they're doing with a LATAM twist. They're doing in Brazil, and they are $40 billion company.
Of course, but don't you? So you look for those companies?
Yeah, because they're easy. They're really easy. Like there's no point to invest. That's why I'm interested agnostic. There's no point to invest in something that I don't understand. Not because you're not going to be successful, because simply I don't understand why there should be some ideas that are already easy to develop and easy to create and easy to test, like those.
Okay, so basically, when you look for investing and ideas to invest, you basically look for something that already succeeded somewhere else, and you can twist it a little bit, create a new version of it with, let's say, something more viable, working to the market that you pointed in various of your descriptions, and then invest in those things.
Exactly.
And at the same time, does the idea work only, or do you also look for the people within the company? So co-founders, do you do your what is called due diligence when you?
So this is the thing. So obviously you need to do your due diligence. Now I'm saying something really sad. Okay, so I'm not a big. Let's say, fan of this, but that's the way it works. So talent can come from anywhere, okay? So, if you went to the shittiest university on the planet, doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means that you had this occasion and you had to take it, and that's where you are. But if you look at people from top tier university and people that have been working in consultancy, in high tier one consultant like the Big Four or something like this, like McKinsey, Boston Consulting Group. Those guys probably you can assume they have the skills because the level of knowledge required to be in the field is actually quite high. So if someone got this kind of CV, it makes a lot of sense for me to give them the money. Do you get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They know exactly, they pretty much know what to do with my money.
Mm-hmm.
This is the thing, yeah. So we're looking for people that got a specific CV. But why we do so? Because we do tons of investment per year, really low amount, but tons of investment. So we need to be quick. We cannot invest too much time on due diligence. So relying on signals is not as effective, but it's something we need to do.
So what qualities are those? So exactly, if you could pinpoint the CV, let's say, what would you like to see inside the CV of a founder?
So I'm saying something that nobody in the investor committee will say. I would say it out loud, but we all think of it. So 5-6 years in McKinsey and Stanford or Harvard or LSE or a similar degree from there or whatever, like a top tier university outside from the emerging market, it clearly tells me that the guys have a high chance to be effective. What does it mean effective? It means that he can execute the idea. What does it mean executing the idea? So let's suppose you doing Uber for Egypt. Okay, let's suppose there's Karim, there's plenty of Uber for Egypt. Let's suppose you want to do an Uber for Egypt. There's several steps you need to tackle, and I want you to be as smart as possible to kind of understand for each step if what you are planning to do is the right thing or you have to give in a little twist. Okay? And to do that, you need to read the numbers. You need, this strategy is not working. Let's find something else. This is basically being effective.
Okay, so of course, so you look for the more universally approved qualities. So a good university, great company, and things like this. But what about the others? The ones that did not go there and might have a great idea and might have a great co-founding team. How do you look for those people?
Yeah, so this is the thing. So this is not about the person. So we're not discussing the person. We're discussing more the CV. So if it's like if you want to build a Uber for Poland, okay? Mm-hmm. I'm sure that there are plenty of people that they don't have any degree or they wouldn't have any like past experience that would be able to do at a certain point. But having someone that work with a McKinsey, it means that he's already dealing every day with numbers and strategies and tactics on how to get more users, on how to get less users, on how to get more LTV, on how to get less LTV, etc. So I know these guys already been doing what I'm looking for. Do you get what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. While a guy that comes to me and say, I want to create Uber, and I say, what experience do you have? And he tells me, yeah, I've got no experience in mobile apps. So he might be good, okay, might be a genius, but he needs to take a couple of years learning how those mobile apps works before getting effective. Do you get what I mean?
Of course. Did you ever have a situation when you took a leap of faith? When it comes to someone that did not have...
Like all the time, because those profiles are basically impossible to find, so it's not really easy. So all the time we just find someone that looks good, they have a good idea, makes sense, and we say, okay, you should go for it. Like we invest in a guy that we invest in a guy last time. He was this guy doesn't know anything about blockchain, used to be a sales for a small company, but I'm really sales driven, so I like him, and I told him, okay, do you want to start? I'll give you my money. This guy just last year won the GTEx Awards of 300K among 7,000 startups. And he's running a blockchain company in Jordan where basically it's not the right ecosystem to do blockchain, but he's doing this. And he's making lots of money. That is the most important thing. And yeah, it was completely a leap of faith, but you just like, to be honest, you see that the guy is a sales guy and they can figure out the rest. I mean, you hope so, at least.
Okay, so you look for someone with sales experience or at least a sales character.
No,
so you can see that this guy can sell.
Okay, so no, depend. Okay, so depend on the. So you need to find the founder company fit. So if you so you start with the idea and say, okay, this guy got this idea. Okay, what does he need to make it happen? Let's suppose you're talking about this, or let's suppose you're talking about B2B SaaS. Okay. What does he need to make this idea happen, to make it successful? He needs revenue. When you have revenue, there's the moral of the whole startup world. A lot of money, a lot of success. No money, no success. Okay? So, money. How do you get money with clients? So, how do you get clients? You need to book appointments and convince them to buy. What they need to buy? A product. They obviously like a good product makes everything easier. Bad product makes everything bad. So is he the guy smart enough? So first skill in this specific case, is he the guy smart enough to understand what people need, what people want? How do you get that? It should be coachable. So what we usually do is like we give them feedback and wait and then see how they reply. Like the people that are not coachable, they tell you something, you give them feedback, and they reply with something that it's like they're not listening, and they reply with like back and forth. They don't get your feedback. They reply with something else. So it's like you tell me, I tell you, you know what, I don't like your shirt, and you tell me, yeah, but black is good. It means that you don't listen to feedback. Okay? If you do that 10 times in a row, probably you know the kind of person who listens to feedbacks. Okay? If you tell me, I don't like your shirt, if you ask me, what don't you like? Okay, would you like it white? Then you're coachable. Okay? So first thing, you need to develop a product and it needs to be coachable for this. But not coachable from me, coachable from the market.
Interesting.
See the market is going to coach him. The market is going to tell them, this is wrong, this is good. Can he onboard the feedback? If it's yes, first check, done. Second check, the guy needs to sell. To sell, you need meetings. Can the guy figure out how to book meetings? So you ask him, how do you plan to do? If he already did in the past with another company, with a similar position, you got it covered. Otherwise, you need to understand if he knows how to do it. So how would you approach this? And he will tell him, and he will probably tell him something like, on a call clients. Okay, have you ever cold call? And then he will tell me, no, I never cold call in my life. So you got no clue about how to do it. It's not wrong, but you have to learn this. Okay, so this is a -1. You have to learn how to do cold calling. You need to hire someone who does cold calling. So he can create a good product or at least pivot. He can sell good. He can book meetings. Now it's time to sell. Have you ever sold in your life? No. Okay. Can you sell? We're trying to figure out how he can sell, or if he can find someone that can teach him how to sell. Done it. Now, so the guy is here, the product is there. Now it's time to understand the market. So is the idea a massive idea or a bad idea that could be good and could be sold in a couple of years, but not really it's not going to be a unicorn? If it's the first case, so it's going to be sold in 2-3 years, it's still a good investment if it's your own money. But if it's your fund money, no. Why? Because as of today, 65% of a fund returns, they come from 6% of investment. So one investment of 20 make more than all the other 19 all put together. What does it mean? It means that every investment you do, you should do that with the intention of getting this fund returner. Okay? So if the guy has no potential to do that, I'll suggest you, and if you trust him or her, I'll suggest you put your own money, like personal money, because it's going to be a good investment. But know your fund. Okay? Then, second thing, competition. Is there like still competition there? Is it like too much? Is it too difficult? To be honest, like if the market is big enough, competition does not matter. Still evaluation does not matter. If the market is not big enough, you need to look at competition a bit closely. If you're looking at B2C, for instance, I told you to do like, can guy twist the product? Can the guy Can the guy book meeting? Can the guy close meetings? Okay, these are the three things. But let's suppose, and then there's also the last thing is, can the guy maintaining clients? But this is like easier, to be honest, than selling. If you're doing something B2C, the main point is acquisition. So is he the guy coachable or smart enough to create an offer that people would be happy to acquire, to basically download or use? Okay, if it's yes, then good point. Second thing, acquisition. Does the guy ever got any experience on acquisition? Okay, if it's no, it means that he needs 2 or 3 years before learning those things. It doesn't mean it's bad. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's simply like it needs a lot of time to develop. I'm not expecting you, Kuba, to be able to draft a perfect strategy of a B2C app if you've never done it before. Do you get what I mean?
Of course.
So if you cannot do it because you've never done it before, it will be really likely that your strategy won't be really smart. Yeah, so that's the thing.
Of course, trial and error. Okay, yeah, understandable, of course. And if we are a first-time founders, for example, imagine that we are a first-time founders. How would you tell us? How would you tell the founder to look for funding?
So,
what would you give them as advice?
Yeah, so depends on the so first-time founder. We raising the first check, correct?
Yeah, this is let's say an example.
So the more you go on, the more the rule changes. Okay, the more you less team-driven and more number-driven. But let's suppose the first-time founder trying to get his first-time check. First of all, you need to develop. So to raise a good seed, usually you either have like a hell of a team, or you need to develop a good MVP with a lot of traction. Okay, so if you have a hell of a team, so if you have a former vice president of marketing at Snapchat, yeah, then you just say, okay, you know what, I'm thinking of starting a company. Can I have 100K? People will tell you yes. If you are Mr. No One like I am, or the majority of people are, you need to show off traction on an MVP. So you need to create an MVP of a product. But the only reason why you need to create an MVP is show off that people are interested about it. And the only limit you have to your growth is actually money. So this is the story you should tell. We go to we create a mobile app to share, to a dating app to share, to find a long-term relationship. Who cares? Okay. We try in our city. It's growing like crazy. Now we would like to expand, but we don't have any money. We are revenue generating, but it's not enough for expansion, and so we will need an investor money to run on this. If you need money to do an MVP, probably you don't. So if you don't have 5K in your bank account, you shouldn't start a startup, but you got other problems, to be honest. If you cannot borrow 5K from your parents, you should not find a startup, simply because dire straits will come and it will be more likely to fail. So get your money in the bank account and then start your startup, okay? Because to be honest, the startups are most likely to fail. Every startup's on the planet. And if you're really early stage, you probably gonna fail, but we're talking about 95%. So 1 out of 20 will actually make it to our investments. So find your first money from your own pocket or from your friends or from your family. If you don't have it, trying to find a way, work hard and do it, convince people to do it. If you cannot do it, this is not a really difficult thing. So find a cheaper way to do stuff, or find someone that can put the money. If you can't, okay, you probably are not good for startup, because this is the first challenge. Then once you go good MVP, so good first time product, you start getting as many people on board as you can. You try to build as much traction as you can, and then you go and contact investor. How do you contact investor? The best way is getting introduction. How do you get introduction? You gain contact with someone that knows them, and then politely ask for an introduction. So people keep asking me for introduction all the time. And to be honest, it's really bad. Sometimes I don't want to share an introduction to someone that I don't believe into. Because if I don't believe it, I'm making my name. So if I introduce to an investor, I'm saying, I recommend this guy. I'm not saying I hear this guy. So what you should do is you should get as much as you should get as much as you need you should get as much traction as you can, and then once you get traction, you ask friends of an investor or former startup of an investor or colleagues from investors to meet, to speak. If you can help them, you develop relationship with them, so you have a first degree connection with the investor, and then when it's ready, you ask for an introduction. A dirty tricks that people use all the time is you connect them with the investor as fast as you can, but don't ask for investments. So you go there and say, hey, Kuba, I know you're investing in early stage in Poland. What you should do is, I want to share this with you just to get you some feedback. I'm looking for investments. I might look next year, and I would love you to be in my radar would love me to be in your radar. People appreciate that, people love it, people reply to it, and you build relationship. So this is great. When you pitch, the less is more. So what you should do is literally few slides, then you build on top if people like asking you feedback or asking you question. But again, the less is more, and speak really slowly. And the thing should be not in this order, could be in different order, but you should say, there is a problem. The problem is big, so the market is big. This is the solution that we envision to fix it. It's not the final solution. It's one possible solution. We try this solution out, and this generates a lot of traction. Who are we? Some people try and put them at the beginning, especially if they wanna. If you would go experience in a specific field, you put at the beginning that you are a specific. You are for instance, if you're running a SaaS for e-commerce and you say, I'm Francesco and I'm running an e-commerce for 10 years, you should put that at the beginning, because from now on, whatever you're gonna say would be perceived as someone that knows e-commerce. And then finally, last question is, okay, we need this money for these things at probably this valuation.
Of course. Okay. That's very interesting. So keep it short, speak slowly, establish a first connection with an investor, and get a little bit of traction before you start, so you are more viable towards the investor. Okay, I have one last question for you, Francesco, so I don't keep you for longer. If you were to give one final advice, short final advice for the founder as an investor, what would it be?
Speak slowly. You guys, you don't believe how strong it is. Speak super slowly. Try today with your clients. Try today with your colleagues. Try today with your partners. Try today with your investor. This is gonna change the whole way they perceive you.
Okay. I think people, we hope, will find that very inspiring to listen to you. It's definitely not a very conventional way of talking about startups. So I think people will find it. Our members will find it very interesting. Thank you very much for your answers and for all your time and connecting with us today. If I may ask you, if there are any questions towards you after this meeting, could I pass them to you?
100%. So my mail is Francesco at Nomadic Minds. So November Oscar Mama.
We will put it.
Yeah,
we will put it in a link. Don't worry.
Nomadicminds.co. So Charlie Oscar. So you just reach out to me. I'm always happy to chat.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Francesco.
Thank you, Kuba.
Francesco will be available as an expert on SUPlift. Thank you for watching our video. If you have any comments, send us a message. It will help us grow. Thank you.